Hello Kenyans. Hani hapa ukiwa na Uncle Gen Z. Today ni show 002 and we are talking about Adani. Adani. On my right niko na nani?
Kuna Belgitai.
The great Jomo Lennox.
Yeah, today we have new people in my show and it is good. So ningependa to take through what you are going to talk about today. Yeah. It's a serious thing.
So welcome once again, guys. So today we want to delve into Adani deals, and Adani of late they have been in controversials, and they have been making a controversial deal with the whole JKIA incident. So we want to delve in and we want to dissect what is the the specific deals that they are making. What are the impacts? And I don't know. Maybe we can start with you, Lennox.
Yes.
What do you think is what's it called? The deals that they are trying to make.
First, there's this unscrupulous deal that Adani is going to take over JKIA mainly to improve it. According to their terms of agreement, they're going to improve the infrastructure, build new terminals, and probably maybe new runways from their terms of agreement and what they're anticipating to do on JKIA. That is what they are supposed to do. Now, in my opinion, and maybe don't victimize me, it's just my opinion, because it's subjective.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like Adani, because tracing back its history, it has very many grafts, tax evasions. Some of its staffs, they are jailed, So I find it a little bit ironical for the government to strike a deal with such a holding company, Bearing in mind that JKIA is our national asset, our national asset. So compromising its safety will be same as compromising the country's, entire safety. That is what I feel,
Okay, so one of the terms were, if at all Adani gets into this deal with JKIA, they are going to take over for the next 30 years. And for the first year, they speculate or they want, or their expectation is that they will raise 6 billion. So do you guys think that it is realistic for them to buy, or rather to lease out this property for that amount of period of year? And do you think it's really necessary? Yes, they want to make a profit of 6 billion. But do you guys feel as if Adani is not the right one? Or do you guys feel as if the government is, doing something that is not, right or in the best interest of the Kenyan people? What do you think about it, Uncle Gen Z?
This deal that Adani is going on with Kenyans, it looks like it's so complicated in a way that the deal, we are knowing about it on September. Or it's like, why did they not hear it in advance so that Kenyans can talk about
considering that it started actually from March of 2024 and it was whistleblown on around September, August.
And the whistleblower is at risk. You wonder why. But it means that this group does not qualify to have our JKIA airport. Because if they are going to secure it, definitely we love the security problems.
Of course.
We don't. It's a group that has been allegated with so many things, like for not paying taxes, looting, and there is a thing about Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka. That is an evidence that this group does not qualify. Should be, it has done well from the airport, Madra, but now it is a reckless group for it to have an airport. Plus, this is Africa. This thing should be taken by Africa. How are we going to express our culture? The beauty of Africa. Jomo Kenyatta is among the biggest airports.
It's one of the biggest strategic national assets that we have in Kenya.
Not in Kenya, the busiest. The most known in Africa.
Yeah, exactly.
So when it comes to security cases, we love a problem. if it is infrastructure, I guess these people should talk about it.
Yeah.
Because infrastructure, me I don't think like Kenya imeshindwa kujenga ni JKIA. Plus why do we need to build our JKIA ikae kama Indian ni airport?
Plus to just add on that, me hata I feel like Abel, sisi vile tuko hivi Kenyans, hatuwezi shindwa ku raise the amount of money yenye inahitajika ku refurbish yo JKIA mzima. Unaona? Like we can collect enough tax ndo iende improve kama ni kubuild terminals na kubuild new runways. We can collect enough money to ifanye hiyo kazi yote. Unajua than kuleta hii company. Me I'm not speaking against Adani, but we just have to be factual. You see, you just have to be reasonable. You see, bring this company at investor, that is how they term it. Investment. But kitu ya kwanza ni unconstitutional. Unaona, it's against the Kenyan law. But mbona wakuje kuinvest na hii do si tunaweza raise. Unaona, ni tunaweza raise hii do improve infrastructure yetu sisi wenyewe.
Okay, so I understand where you're coming from, because there are certain Kenyan critics, such as the Kenya Human Rights Commission and the Law Society of Kenya. They are against it, and they critique it as it is not really in the best interest of the Kenyan people to lay such a strategic and profitable national asset to a foreign entity, considering the fact that it might go against the principles of accountability, which has showed us time and again, according to how the government runs, the country.
Yeah.
But do you feel as if we need to give this situation a benefit of the doubt? Because, if at all these guys are true about it, there might be certain things that, such as, job opportunities might come in, because, if there are infrastructures that are actually to be done, those are engineers that are being sought after. Those are contractors that will be sought after. You get? So do you guys feel as if at all this thing might happen, that they might bring more good than we might actually think? What do you think about it?
Are we sure that these contractors will be Kenyans? Because this deal will give to an Indian man. Are we sure the engineers will come from Kenyans? Do you have any record, any agreement with them? That everything that is going to happen in JKIA will be done by Kenyans? And if it will be done by Kenyan, why can't we not give opportunity those Kenyans without the Indian man?
Exactly.
Okay. You get it? Because it means if you have the capability of improving the infrastructure of the airport as a Kenyan, so what I need is just an opportunity. I don't need to be controlled by an outsider. You get it? This is Africa. We must have things. We must own things. So for me, I feel there is no any benefit. It will turn like the roads in Kenya, whereby the majority are Chinas. And they build the man you need a man what? The men at work are black people, but the idea doesn't come from Kenya.
Exactly.
So definitely we want to benefit. We'll still become the slaves of this thing.
So before Lennox, to give up to your point, I'm looking about the potential people, the people who basically had to give their concerns, or whether they are supporting or they are going against it. So we have societies like the Kenya Airports Authority, which is basically the government agency that is in charge of the JKIA. We have aviation unions, we have transport associations, we have public, and we also have the opposition. So in such groups, there are basically those who support and those who don't support. You mentioned about there's that fear of some Kenyans losing their jobs, or foreign people coming for it. And we see people like aviation unions, those people who work in the airports, are against it. But you see, there is this Kenya Airport Authority, which is the government agencies, which is basically in deal with these people, and them they are supporting it. So Lennox, as you give your view, what do you think? Is that back?
Is KIA supporting Adani?
I think it's supporting Adani because
No.
KIA is not supporting.
It's not supporting. Okay, that's
KIA. In fact, KIA ndo ili hold nini Adani into account, ikasema nini Adani Group Holdings doesn't meet the threshold yenye that is supposed to how do I put it, like Adani Holdings doesn't meet the threshold ya ku run investment kwa JKIA. First things first, your terms of agreement ya you know, concession ya 30 years literally means they will, ukiangalia kwa hiyo terms of agreement zao, they literally meant that they will take over, like hata roles za KA yote they will take over role like, which means KA sasa itakuwa useless. If that is if Adani takes over, Kenya Airports Authority will become useless, you know. And to add on that, I wanted to respond to the first question you asked. Okay. There is no way Adani will benefit Kenyans. Truth be told. First things first, ina benefit Indians. How? Kwa sababu wewe unafikiria kama huyo CEO Adani, nafikiria yeye anaweza bambika aseme mimi siandiki Mkenya hapa, mimi nataka kuchukua watu wangu. You know, they usually say charity begins at home. You know? Okay. Are you sure Adani will give Kenyans priority first?
Actually, I think in one of their agreements, they didn't like specify whether the people will lose their jobs or so that kind of makes sense.
And then you see another red flag that people maybe didn't notice. You see, immediately when you are getting into agreement with government, you are telling them now you'll have to insure us from competitive bidding. We hatutaki competitive bidding.
Competition.
You see, hiyo ni already ni red flag ya kwanza. Mbona it should just be fair. You see, let it be fair. Ikwe kwa ground, watu kama wanataka kuinvest but why should you use the government to shield you from competitive bidding? You understand? Okay. That is the biggest red flag that people maybe didn't notice.
So, gentlemen, you mentioned KAA are against this thing. Yeah. Aviation groups are against this thing. Members of the government, whether ruling or opposition, are against it.
Yeah. No, not all.
Not all of them.
Some, exactly.
Some people.
Certain groups in Kenya, Law Society of Kenya, KHRC, also against it. So then, who is supporting this, or who is backing this government on this deal? What do you guys think?
You know, our president, the party that we elected, is spearheading the thing that we should privatize some of the infrastructures. Something that really, when he was introducing to Kenyans, made sense. But for now, we can see there is no sense, because it is kind of like there is a certain private sector that should come in, that should fit in. Something that I feel isn't fair. We should have a competitive selection of these people, because if we cannot have this competitive selection of these things, it will end up the way the thing of KEMSA was aired. You see, things don't make sense if we have a certain sector. Look now, kama amepewa things to deal with constructions of what? The Kenya power lines, the Kenya electric lines. It is given to Adani. Does it mean like we don't have another private sector that we can trust as Kenyans to offer this thing? Plus, if we are in Kenya, I'm a Kenyan, I got a vision. I feel that I need to build while I'm in Kenya, but I don't own the things that are termed to be for Kenyan. What will showcase that I'm a Kenyan, or it is by birth? You know, it's kind of annoying to be born in Kenya, live in Kenya, but the hospital that you attend, the people who own that are not Kenyans. Does it mean we cannot invent? We like God alitunyima grace ya kuinvent.
Basically not living up to the expectations of Kenyans, basically, you know, in regards to how people fought for our independence, you know.
Yeah.
It's just neocolonialism at its best, you know.
So basically, this thing is not good. In fact, if the private sector was a Kenyan, I could agree with that one, because a Kenyan will consider to bring things that will promote the Kenyan culture. You know, these are the best. By the way, let me tell you something. If the JKIA airport is well managed, it can employ more than 700 people. Apart from the official employees, it can employ other people more than, because it can create a section for cultures, it can create a section for arts, like this. See, this is a deco. It's a very nice deco to deco. Does it mean that our airport lazima ikuwe na kioo ndo ikuwe a very beautiful airport to be recognized? How are we going to attract tourists? What is this? What is this that Kenya is portraying to bring the difference within that industry?
You see, you've actually raised something that was actually related to my next question, because if we don't want a foreign entity to come and invest, or rather to take over national, assets, so what do you think, other than the reducing of corruption? Because corruption is very rampant in Kenya. It's very evident, locally and internationally. Unfortunately, as Kenyans,
yes,
so that's a fact. So, what are some of the incentives that you gentlemen feel or think that must be done in order for us to not basically to ensure that this asset is running properly?
I'll just try to respond to that, Abel. You see, first things first, by the way, corruption is our biggest hitch to development, especially it is alleged, I might be held accountable for this, but it's alleged this is the most corrupt regime ever in history.
Kenyan history.
Okay. The people that are in this regime, to begin with the man at the top, we all know whatever he did in 2007, ICC, and you can see even his lads, Chumba Murkomen, there are people who have been involved in very many corruption
and last cases, basically.
And yes, and I even wonder what happened to chapter 6 of the Constitution, that is leadership and integrity.
Yeah.
But that is a topic for another day. You see, Abel, immediately corruption ikishaingia kwa economy ya country, manze development inakuwa tu ngumu. But me personally, I just feel like we should just cut off this Adani thing fast, and we just decide to focus on ourselves. Unaona? Fear over taxation, I strongly feel like it's playing a very huge role.
Yeah.
Over taxation, maybe.
That's true.
Is it?
Yeah, that's true.
Over taxation.
Considering the fact that the economy basically is under recession.
Exactly.
So when an economy is under recession, it's not economically intelligent to overtax people. That's
because we are at a position where we cannot even manage ourselves. But then again, you see, but then if that Adani things come, if that thing is signed, it means we will be captives. You get what I'm saying? We will be captives in our own republic under Adani, because hiyo tax yenyewe hata ni sisi bado tutalipa. Hiyo tax bado ni sisi tunalipa.
Actually, let me read you one of the financial terms for between Adani and JKIA. They're saying in the first year, the Kenyan government expects to receive 6 billion Kenyan shillings in profit. Now, over the 30-year period, Kenya is set to benefit from significant infrastructure improvements without a direct financial burden on taxpayers, as the project is not funded by the exchanger. So, my question then would be, according to this deal, they're saying that it won't have a direct impact on you and I, or a normal Kenyan who is basically paying taxes. So, that's not realistic.
It's not realistic at all. At all.
And that's why, that question of what are some of the incentives we will do? Because from this statement, then I would ask myself, then if this private company is coming to take over literally the operations, they have the, what's it called in business? They have that propriety, or they have that wako na hiyo uwezo basically ya put the pricing on the transport basically, get. And in a way, do you guys feel as if when they get to raise some of these prices that itaendelea kufinya wa Kenya basically in order for them to receive this 6 billion? This 6 billion, it just doesn't come like this. It definitely has to come with a certain cost. Do you guys get where I'm trying to come from? And that's why I'm really asking that question on the incentives that you guys you think that we need to do in order for us not to get where we are about to be a few months from now, if this thing comes to ground?
Okay, my take about that one is like this. If Kenya will still continue talking without actions, definitely let us expect to lose some of these things. And this has been showcased by our neighbors, whereby most of African countries, there's nothing like private infrastructure, no, public infrastructure. There's nothing like that. Like if you visit a certain country, you will find that there is a person who owns an airport. There is a person who owns the port. A person who owns the hospital. There is nothing like a public infrastructure, public investment. Nothing like that. So definitely, if we'll sit down and watch, we are going to miss this thing again. We are going again to be we are going now to initiate something called modern slavery, and we are not going to benefit, because for me, if I'm talking about this thing, I'm talking for the benefit. Can you imagine this thing being taken for 30 years? I'm 20. It means that at 50 now, it's a point whereby now Kenya will be given back their airport, and maybe we don't know. They may decide to sign a contract whereby it says now the Adani group owns the airport, because this thing, only if it were for the whistleblower, we could have not noticed about this thing. So definitely, if this thing is going to happen again, it may happen like ni kama tu vile tulifanyiwa financial bill. Some things were hidden.
Of course, definitely.
Not if it were for the Gen Z, like it were for me, being brought up in a way that studying it is the best thing. That I took time, went through the financial bill, understood some of the things. Our parents could have just said yes. And
they didn't even care.
This is the only thing that the MPs are trying to put on the table, in a way that they think Kenyans, they don't check what is going on in Kenya. So definitely, if Adani will pick over JKIA, first, the agendas of New World Order, chances of overwhelming the country are very high. Second, security, itakuwa very compromised. Because these people, they can do whatever it takes, because this is a private sector that has taken over. There's no anything to deal with shares. It has taken over. So it means it controls the in and out within the airport. So there's a lot.
Abel, to just add on that, amidst of all the maybe incentives, you know, a person who has someone who has the upper hand in this situation is just the president. If the president, and I understand, the president is a very wise person. In fact, I respect the president so much. He's a very wise person, a very clever person, but he should just take time, look through this issue, maybe try and just cut it off, like cancel it, because he usually says he wants what's the best for the country, right? And he has said that. He even said the Kenyan people, and I quote, the Kenyan people have very many expectations from me. You know, you see, when people are telling you this thing, it's this Adani deal, it's punitive, it's not straight, it's not correct. Just cut it off. I mean, like I've said, we can raise this money to improve our own JKIA without having to involve other entities. You understand what I'm saying? Me, I strongly feel that is the biggest solution to this matter, because at the end of it, or we just if he doesn't heed to what we want, we just go to the streets. I mean, because other countries have done it. Ghana did it. You know what I'm saying? They went to the streets. They were against leasing out their important public assets, you know. Na unajua sasa tukienda streets, itamaanisha whatever deal that they had, we as the citizens tumekataa, we are against it. So whatever deal they had, itakuwa tu itatupiliwa mbali kwa sababu si hatutaki. Unaona? So me, I feel that those two are the biggest maybe solutions to this whole Adani and JKIA controversy.
Let me ask you, Lennox, yes. When you talk about streets, so far some of the people have tried to convince Kenyans that they should go back to streets. And most of Kenyans are feeling like it is not good for us to be on streets. But as a Kenyan, I feel if this is something that this government is hearing, then we should do it. But unfortunately, I feel like nowadays we are turning to be people of many words as Kenyans, but no action. And we do expect to lose a lot. Are you getting this one?
I'm getting it.
If what my brother said here, if we are not going to have a unity, me and you, we are at the same age. We understand the benefits that we can gain from this airport. I get it. But above, let me say, majority above 36, they think that what government says, like we are still in the kingdom eras, what government says and decides, it's what should be done. And we are missing it.
That we should have no opinion.
We should have no opinion about it. And definitely, we are losing it. Because now, if we will say no to Adani, and then it apita, and then we still remain saying no, and everything will happen. We'll definitely still remain like parrots in a cage. Too much talking. The way we do things in new platforms. Oh. Look, we'll lose it. Yes.
Okay, so let me come out of context just a little bit. So earlier on, before even the show, there is this thing that we had this conversation earlier on with Lennox, and you raised something that is, I feel as if we need to just talk about it a little bit. Now we see that Adani, the airport is being leased, right? That's something that is a national asset. We have something like NHF that is being transformed to Shisha, whichever it is. That is concerning health. We have education where CBC is not actually being actualized how it's supposed to be. We're in the university, so there's a lot of controversies about this funding model. We have students who are basically, they're not getting or receiving food packages the way they're supposed to. Like, remember that time during the Kibaki era, we actually Kibaki, graduates back in primary school, and then there's like so many, exactly, the churches have been invaded basically by politicians. So you see, there's a lot of, I don't know whether the occupation or rather, basically these important things are rather assets or services, they are being hijacked by the government one way or another, and not for the right reasons. So do you feel as if this is like headed to somewhere, such as the breakage of a system, a takeover? Do you guys feel as if all this is being connected to try to take Kenya to a certain direction that probably might not be right?
I can respond to that. Abel, you see, nowadays, okay, the modern day Kenya. I hear someone said the modern day Moi era. Someone said that. I have no proof, but word from the street or word from the corners is that Ruto is being the president. The president is being blackmailed. So the president must just do whatever he's being told. We had this discussion earlier before, and I questioned and I said, why is it that important auxiliary services are being hijacked? Health, education, and infrastructure, that is transport. The Shifsha, at some point, it denies people some very important and fundamental health practices. Like, I hear some people who are suffering from some chronic illnesses. They are saying that this Shifsha doesn't provide or rather haina hiyo docket ya kuwasaidia like hiyo cancer, I don't know.
Okay. Let me ask you, in terms of Shifsha. You see, we had HELB. It was another system was brought in to solve some problems, but we didn't understand what was the problem with the system that we are using. the system we are using. But the first years are using another system.
Yes.
Now, considering this issue of SHA and NHIF, we don't have another reason to say that NHIF couldn't manage to do this and this and this and this and this. Then now we need SHA. I'm getting that one. Also, that we can consider, is SHA capable to solve these problems? Why did we not advance or improve or upgrade, whichever, the NHIF, other than bringing another? And these are the systems that we are going, or if Gen Z will manage to take the government, these are the systems that we need to take them down. It's either we build some and we scatter some. Because definitely some will make us become slaves and we lose it. So, considering what you are saying,
Yes.
like, yeah, there is a problem there, a very serious problem.
Now, circling back to our topic for today, which is the Adani deal. Now, we have spoken a lot, and we are getting to cover that this deal is not good for the country. It's not good for infrastructure. It's not good, basically, for Kenyans in general. So then
we don't want it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Many people don't want it, and they are against it. So then, what is it that we can do basically as Kenyans? Because we saw we didn't want the finance bill. We had to go for mandamano for it to be dropped down. A lot of lives were lost, properties. The country was at a standstill. So, do you guys feel like there's something else that we can do as the Kenyan people, as Kenyan citizens, as people who subscribe to JKIA one way or another? Get so other than kwenda mandamano and risking lives lost, do you feel, or do you think there's other things we can do to ensure that this thing isiingiane?
Abel, we are dealing with a very, I don't want to term it as rude, but maybe the right time to use it. Complicated and ignorant, a very ignorant regime. We are dealing with a regime that doesn't care. Someone might tell me, usijifanye pia wewe ukikuwa hapo uwezi iba. Someone will say that, but Abel, when you are at least in power, you make sure you take care of the needs of the people, and then maybe you can satisfy your own needs. When people are telling you this thing is not bad, leave it. But now, when diplomacy fails, we shall just use force. You see, even Abel, our founding fathers, akina Kimathi, akina Kenyatta, yes, the Mau Mau in general, had it not been some lives, they actually gave their life for the better future. You understand? Yes. So we shall just have to do it. I feel like there is no, because you can. In fact, the spokesperson is very rude. You cannot have a
the government.
Of the government. You cannot have a conversation with him. He's a very rude. He has a very condescending attitude. You can't talk. You can't even converse with him on pertinent issues concerning the country. You understand? So me, I strongly feel like it's not just about for the Gen Zs, but it's for Kenyans in general. When you say that you will not do anything because that doesn't concern you, you have a future in the next 30, 40 years, God willing. You understand?
Yes.
You should fight for your future. We should just go back to the streets, because that's the only option. We cannot talk to the government. They will not hear. I strongly feel like if we just have one common goal, and we just want back our country. Because lately, this government, it exudes some dark aura, some negative aura, negativity. For us to resuscitate our republic to where it was at, we should just go back to the streets. So that is my opinion. Yes.
Uncle Genzi, what do you think about it?
To think about it, I'll just say, first, let me say something.
Yes.
During the Moise era, let me now become a tribal man to speak about this thing in a way that people can understand. During Moi eras, according to the history that we are told, because we never existed at that season, it is things were not okay. Because this man wanted to rule Kenya. And of course, there are some things that he achieved, some he didn't achieve. Are you getting that one? Now, this regime, it is for another man from the Moise tribe. Same lineage, yeah. And now we experience such things.
It's actually said that he's a student of Moi.
Yeah,
Are you
he's a
getting-
student of Moi, but he owns the university.
So definitely, let us expect like some of the challenges. We'll have conflict between the people. That is spiritual act. Only people can understand what I've said.
Yes.
We'll have conflict between the people and the government. And secondly, let us now consider as Gen Z what led to our fathers, Mau Mau people, to go into streets and try to fight for their country. Because if we don't have that thing, if we don't have the reason why they did so, then definitely we will go and lose. And maybe if you die, my friends, you are the man to improve either to become the cabinet secretary of sports and entertainment with a vision. So once I lose you in the streets, the Kenya is losing. Maybe you are the man now to sharpen and bring something new in the transport sector. So even in streets you are shot by these reckless people that we have given them mandate to guard us, but they are taking us as thieves. Definitely I will lose. Because if my mandate is to become the president of Kenya and you have died, and once opportunities comes and I become the president, definitely I will have another fall. Are you getting? Because I will miss. You are the man to qualify to be the cabinet secretary of sports. Are you getting? But now you're not there. So definitely I will look for a man who is not qualified to fit in and will fail like the government.
If I may cut you short, now, what do you think is the best solution?
The best solution to talk about this thing, can we be as one? Let us showcase the love as Kenyans. Let us showcase the love as Kenyans. And let us assess the truth within everything. It's either it is improved, it is either no or yes. If it is no, let us speak with one voice. Tell the government, this is something that you are not willing and you are not going to force us to do so.
How will you execute?
And if they are not going to hear it, with unity we can enter into streets.
Of course they will not hear. It's a fact.
We can enter into streets. You get it? Like now, there's something very bad is going to happen about the term, the extent of terms.
Yeah, that's true. 7 years.
7 years is quite long for a man with a vision. Even 2 years can make you do great things for a country.
Definitely.
But if you don't have a vision, then you will take many years trying to loot. So definitely this thing will not work. But they will try to force us to, the way they are forcing us to Adani. So definitely we can talk about streets, but are we equipped for the streets?
I think now
Why do you feel?
that's the question.
Why do you feel that you have to be in streets?
Exactly. And I was to ask you guys the same question because, with this current regime, we saw that they need that force or they need that, kuangaliwa ama kusukumwa basically. And, the problem with the maandamano that took place this year is that we lost a lot of lives. We lost a lot of young people. Exactly. And it was hijacked by looters and criminals, basically. So, other than the maandamano, because, we don't want more lives. We don't know. Today we are here with you, but we don't know. Tomorrow we are
Imagine tomorrow you are abducted,
exactly. Or
you are killed, and maybe you are the man to change
might
the
even
country.
do that.
You are the man to understand the mistakes that these people are doing and try to bring a solution within it. Definitely we will lose. So for me, let me finish, then you will need. For me, as Gen Zs, can we try to understand? Kenya is a jobless country. Kenya is a country full of corrupt people. Kenya is a country full of the genius people. Because have you ever heard that if a Kenya is introduced into a certain deal in another country, chances of that deal to fail are minimal? Then why is it that when a Kenya is in charge of a deal in this country, it fails? There must be a problem. And if they don't know how to improve their systems, then we can do them for us. In fact, if these people, instead of doing a broad-based government, what they did, they just decided now to listen to the Kenyan people. You know, as a leader, I should not convince you to go to that hospital. I should talk about the importance of you attending that hospital so that you can assess and find the truth within it. Are you getting? And feel that I'm worthy to go.
You see, Abel, our judicial system, the problem ilianzia tuna our judicial system. They usually sneak in very punitive laws that hurt the important citizens, and that is not okay. You understand? But anyway, ni sawa. Mr. President, if you can hear me, you are a very wise man, a very clever man. I have enough respect for you, Mr. President. If you may just hear this, please. We don't want that Adani deal. I think we have. You usually say we have you want the better for this nation, but I think we shall just have to differ with you kidogo, Mr. President. For me, Adani JKIA is a no.
So on my take on it, I would say that going back to the streets might not be the most feasible, solution to it, because at the end of the day, we might go to the streets, lives will be lost. But if corruption prevails, if it is meant to prevail, it will prevail. So it comes down back to leadership and their integrity. So I would urge all leaders who are serving in whatever capacity, whether in government or non-governmental, institutions, kindly just do the work that was mandated, you've been mandated to do. I would urge to reduce on the level of corruption and basically just, give the services that are ought to be given. And in regards to the Adani deal, I don't think it's very feasible for Adani to, basically take over the JKIA. And I feel as if we could look to other incentives that we have tried to mention or we have tried to cover up. So thank you so much.
Yeah, on my side, this goes to all the citizens that love this country, that feel that they have a vision for this country, that are have burden like me for this country, and that they feel like, yeah. In fact, as we were studying this thing, it came from the way we exchange things. We felt that we need to share ideas, to showcase that there is an important thing that we can do for our country. We don't need external support. We as a nation, well managed, we can improve everything. We can build whatever we want to build. We can create jobs, and we can, in fact, do things beyond Kenyans' expectations. For me, as a citizen, if you feel like you love your country, please don't talk. Let us stand against this thing. Adani does not qualify to own JKIA. And if the Senate, whichever way it will be taken, whichever the court, please, Adani does not qualify to own JKIA. If they are failing if they feel that they don't have a vision for JKIA, can we have a public participation on what we can do to improve the infrastructure of JKIA? And people like me, because I know we are men, will showcase and bring visions about this JKIA. Doesn't mean now I feel like JKIA should look. It's all about, like, as a president, how I feel like JKIA should look. It's what Kenyans need. No, we need to talk. We need to hear things. We need to agree. Like you can say, Kenyans, I feel like we are failing. JKIA is failing. I don't know how to hold it. I need people to talk about that. One doesn't mean you are foolish leader. No, it means like you care for Kenyans. Am I wrong? That's a showcase. You care. As a leader, you build. You don't stand and say hii jengo hivi. No, you ask. Mimi nataka ifanywe hivi na hivi na hivi. Mnaona aje wa Kenya, si ndio? But if utakuwa unasema hii inafaa hivi na inafaa hivi, then utakuwa tu na tough days in your regime and things will go west. Hata si south, west. And at last, if you fail, we have failed as Kenyans, because that is the picture that you are portraying to young generation, that we cannot have nice things that can come from us. So kindly, as leaders, can we try to analyze where is the future of our young people? Maybe your children went to abroad, they studied and got jobs there. But what about the mwananchi that you talked about, mama mboga, ule ambaye hawezi afford tiketi ya kupeleka mtoto majuu? Mtoto wake atapata kazi aje ndio pia mjukuu wake aende majuu? Plus, why is it that Kenya should look like India? Why is it that Kenya should look like USA? Why can't we have a very nice infrastructure, well created, like a visual, something like adorable thing? We have art, we have engineers, we can, hata hiyo kitu tunaweza ifanya, hold the culture of the Kenya. Are you getting? Instead of kuhava an airport yenye iko na vioo mingi kubwa, we can make it to look good, something that even can attract tourists. And that marks the end of our show. Thank you very much for today. You have listened to us. Thank you for your comments about the last shoot. Wait for the next show. It will be more powerful. Today I was with Lennox, the great, and Abeli, na mimi Uncle Gen Z. Lazima tujenge nchi ijengeke. Tunaamini itabadilika. Thank you.